Ba ba doom 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 doom. Boom. Hello. I'm like really trying to bring the energy, but I don't have it. I don't got it on me. Like, I don't, like, you can't see, but I'm trying to, like, I don't got it on me. There is no crochet. It's just gonna be me talking. I do want to fidget with something, and so I do want to crochet, but I don't want my glasses on. I just want to talk a little bit. So, astrologically, I just realized something's happening. Let me tell you about it. The South Node is conjunct Venus for everyone. That's for everyone. For me as a Virgo sun, second decan, I don't know how to say it because I learned about astrology mainly through reading, and then I only just started talking about astrology like this year, and all of a sudden like she's an astrologer and like yeah. So there's a lesson when it comes to sharing ourselves. Just fucking talk, like, I don't know, or do share however you care to share. But so there's this transit, Venus conjunct the South Node. The South Node is like, I've heard many things about the South Node. One, it's the things that we're good at on this earthly plane in the material world. And then the North Node is like where we expand, and it can be good or bad. Like, I feel like what people think Jupiter is, which I guess is not just a thought, like it is kind of true, but ultimately Jupiter is a benefic. So she's trying to help you. She's trying to be nice. She's trying to like make things good. And usually it will turn out good. Jupiter's lucky. Jupiter, you know? She's ding. The North Node is that same, like not that same. Jupiter is about expansion. Okay, go back. Jupiter is about expansion. And so people will typically say, or some people will say, Jupiter will just expand and it can get really out of hand. And that is true, because at the end of the day, Jupiterians and like the Jupiter archetype people, which are Sag and Pisces, they're counting on it'll work out, it'll go well, it probably won't fuck up, because usually Jupiter is doing it that way. But once it get really big, you can't quite filter whether or not it'll be bad. And then like life itself just has balance. So there are limits to it still. But Jupiter is pretty limitless, and since Jupiter is a benefic, she's trying to like help you out, you know? The North Node, she said, just get bigger, just get bigger. And it's cycles. So it's like you kind of don't even realize that it's getting bigger, because it's like lunar energy. If you think about the moon in tarot as well, it's like that same kind of thing where it's like you don't quite notice. It doesn't have to be all about lies and shit, but it's just like it's happening, it's coming, and you don't even notice because it's just cyclical. So it's like there's a cycle, and then it gets bigger, and then after the next cycle it gets added one more, and like it's building, but it's like these massively expansive things. To me, the North Node can go either way. If the North Node is not happy, like, I don't know, if there's negative aspects happening, or if she's in like a harsh house, then it can show up pretty bad. Like, I don't know, if you have a Cancer North Node, let's just do that. If you have a Cancer North Node, but it's opposite your moon, but it's opposite your moon and like square Mars and like in the 6th house, that is like a setup for being someone who's caring, but it's like you're being ripped from. It's not attentive to your bodily needs. It's not attentive to your energy, you know? It's actively taking away, but it is still inevitably a part of you that you will be caring and that you'll be of service. That's a ding. And so that'll be just expanded, because that's just what it is, you know? And so like intentionality, I feel like, is really important with the nodes, even though there's a lot that you can't control, because like they're gonna expand or shed or whatever, however, like it's inevitable. So that's how I feel about the nodes. North node is expansion, and it doesn't really matter where it's going, and it's kind of like your fate. I actually do see it as fate now. I used to think it was bullshit that like because so many people say it as like, this is what your soul's reincarnation is, like your soul reincarnated to do this, and then your south node is your past life, which that actually does make a lot of sense, because like if you did something in your past life and you're back, like in your most immediately past life, you're back, you're going to be really good at doing that in the material, in like on earth, because it's something you're very well equipped to do and be. The north node is your fate. So no matter what, you're going to be expanding towards that fate, no matter what. Like you actually can't control it. You can fight it, and then it'll just make the expansion harsher and less out of your control. Or you can integrate and decide to not control it, but guide it with your own power, because it's your fate. So like, the fuck, why is someone else controlling it, you know? Unless that's like how it's meant to be, because sometimes it is. So the south node is more about shedding as well, because sometimes there's stuff from your past life that you need to put to rest so that you can move forward. And that's like, if you believe in that kind of thing. I think I do, but I just don't quite know where my beliefs lie with that. But I do believe in like work that has to be done, or like cycles that have to be closed out from your past life, so that you don't have to keep coming back here. For me, it's like you don't have to, because this is a very beautiful place, and I just think it can also be really harsh. I feel like the spiritual world is like so much more like, maybe not necessarily peaceful, but just like, I don't know, I just feel like that's, you know, it's like being in the water, you know? I don't know how to explain it really, but that's just how I feel. And like, the more that you close out from past life cycles, the more your soul is able to get closer to the next, like to the other realm or whatever, you know. Like, I feel like folk saints, that was their last life, you know? Or that's like one of their last lives. You understand? You don't have to understand. If you don't understand, it's okay. But that's how I see it, is like the south node is like, that's the one that makes stuff shed. That's the one that closes stuff up. That's the one that's a little bit more limiting. And so that's why you're encouraged not to stay in south node energy, because if you stay there, you're making it harsher for your north node, because they're always in opposition. You're always gonna be like your south node. You cannot help that. So that's why it's necessary to intentionally pour into your north node, so that it can expand in a good way and build upon a good thing for you, rather than constantly like being like, well, I'm supposed to be like this, so fuck you to the north node, you know? Like, you're not supposed to do that, but do whatever you want. Like, who am I? So the south node, the shedder, is conjunct Venus in fall, because Venus is exalted in Pisces, which is like, she's happy, she's high, she's reaching higher, she's reaching higher. The south node, she's like, it's like hell, and like the release from hell as well, like your soul being forgiven. That's how I see the south node. She scares me a little bit, if you couldn't tell. She's just like a little bit, that's like the shadow work node. That's the shadow work node. And remember that, because winter is coming, and that's the best time to do shadow work, because it's all about death. Everything die. Sorry. I'm an 8th house moon, so I'm going to talk about it like that. But I can be chill. but it is a season of like that reveres death, and that is when like shadow work and like darkness is very important. So South Node is your shadow work node. The shadow work node is conjunct next to Venus, who is not very happy to be in Virgo, because Virgo cares about work. Virgo wants to get it right and like, yes, be efficient, but she also be sacrificing a little bit of herself to make it efficient. She also be diminishing herself a little bit, ripping from herself a little bit to make it move and to keep the system going. And the thing about Virgo, she's so systematic. She's so system. This has to be like this, so particular, because it's necessary for the system to work. It's a machine in a way. Not machine like Capricorn, where it's like manual and like you're pushing the lever and you put this machine together and you forge the iron together and you're the one who like broke the rock to, like, it's not all that. But it is like, oh, this machine was built and I know how to make it more efficient. All you have to do is ding, 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 ding. You just spent a lot of time doing that. Now it runs really smoothly, but it has to have particular things. Virgo is the details. Venus is exalted, very happy in Pisces, because Pisces flows. Pisces is about feelings. Pisces is compelled. Pisces will just flow with it. Not all the, like, it's not like they have no control, but there's a lot less boundary. That's why Venus likes it, because Venus can connect, Venus can love, Venus can talk, Venus can just la 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 la, all in there. So Venus is not happy in Virgo. And then she next to the South Node, the shadow work node. So it's like probably some stuff from the past when it comes to romance, love, connections, maybe money. When it comes to those things, anything requiring love or connection, you're getting into the details of it, but the shadow work details. And it's still hitting your heart space, your heart, your love, your connection, because Venus on top of her. Okay, so that's what's happening for everyone right now. So imagine if you're me and your sun, your natal sun, you know, when you say, oh, I'm a Virgo, oh, I'm a Gemini, oh, I'm a Capricorn, oh, I'm a Pisces. That's your sun sign. Imagine me. Imagine you're me and your sun is right on top of all of that shit. It's all conjunct you. I literally am dying. And so I have a story. It's gonna get a little dark, but then it'll lighten up, okay? So trigger warning, talking about suicidal ideation a little bit, talking about death, which I did not trigger warning earlier, but that's because it was a metaphorical death. Now it's like real death. Okay, for my entire I'll give you a second to decide if you want to listen to that or you don't, and if you do, then you're still here. Okay, so I, for my entire life, was suicidal. I say my entire life, and it's like hardly an exaggeration. From 7 years old, maybe 6, but definitely 7, to 24, I was like deeply suicidal. I attempted many times that did not work. Obviously, I'm here. And like nobody even knew about those attempts. But in 2022, I decided that's way too much to just keep going through and holding, and it's not working. So I like kind of consider 2022 to be like the attempt. Like I feel like in my mind I call it the attempt because like everyone that was close to me in my life knew about that, and everyone and it was meant to be like the one that worked. Did not work. Hey, apparently I'm wanted here, so it better be fucking good. So, but the thing is, after that, I genuinely, this is how I see it. So I'm sharing my thought process. So just walk with me. This is where you gotta walk with me, okay? I did die. I did die. I died. And the way that I see it is like, it wasn't just like a death that day or even that week. It was like a death that was 2.5 years long. I went through a 2.5 year long death. And I believe that I started the rebirth period at the beginning of this year. And like a lot of things are healing and sprouting from me. I'm being reborn. Muscles are regenerating. Limbs are regenerating. Like I just see all the pink in the organ and like the mush. Like it's like if you've seen Adventure Time, this is like when the lich becomes sweet pea. Like I'm sweet peeing and I've sweet peed and I'm understanding myself. I'm integrating the shadow, the lich within me, you know? But I'm still at this point where I don't feel like I'm completely done dying. And I'm definitely not done being reborn. And so I'm at this point, and this South Node conjunct my sun, conjunct Venus in fall, like very much like Persephone going into the underworld. Like that's the spot that I'm at, and like it feels very indicative of like what I'm about to say too, where it just feels like those last little bits that are still like the rot that's still on me and within me, since it wasn't able to heal out. Everything else got stitched up and like it's scarred, and it's like not really scar tissue anymore. It's like it's just like my skin. There's still like these holes and like this rot that can't quite heal because there's some shit that needs to be scooped out. Like at this point, it's not a pruning of the dead. It's not, like a brushing off. It's not a shaving. It's not like and then like letting the skin regenerate. It's not a cauterizing. It's now a scooping with, I can see it like a shoehorn almost. Scooping into the holes, digging out the rot, and it hurts like a bit. It hurts. Scoop, 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 scoop it all out. And like it feels like I'm being scooped from to get the rest of that death like off of me and out of me. And like I understand it a little bit because it's just like what I was saying earlier, where it's like you hold on to that thing because it's familiar. And so I'm at the point where it's like the parts that I hold on to so hard because they feel like they were maybe a part of me. Astrology won't ever lie. Like, tell me it'll fucking lie and then, okay. And then you'll be wrong. Because the sun is the ego. It's who we think we are. It's what we do with who we are. But when the ego gets too strong, it's who we think we are. And so there's all these things that I held on to as a part of myself. Depression, death has always been such a huge part of like who I've represented myself to be. I've always been very interested in like goth culture, because death is revered in goth culture. And then like when I was really young, my dad passed, so that became like very integrated with me. Now it's like I walk with death rather than death being within me. Although I guess it's like death is within us just because our cells die and regenerate. Like it's always a part of us. Our hair falls out. That's a death. There's always death. And so I like leaned into life in a pretty major way. And it's like these just last bits of death that I'm like, no, I need that. Those are falling away. And some of that I'm cognizant of, and I'm like, yes, I'm ready. I'm ready to let go of that. And so those got stitched up. And then now it's the scooping of the shit that I didn't really quite realize was there. The moon, the nodes, the south node. I didn't quite realize it was there. And now it's being made so apparently clear and being scooped out of me. And it hurts. And so that's where I'm at. It's like I'm still dying. And today feels like an especially like dying day where I'm just like, yeah, like I kind of just want to sleep all day. And I understand that it's partially like the social crash that I'm experiencing. And then also partially I'm just like, oh, you know, like it's just like I didn't quite realize that was there. So yeah, there's just like specific, I mean, I guess like with Venus there too, there's realizations that I've been having when it comes to like how my identity within romantic love and within love in general. And I do tend to be quite like servitude-ish, or like, I don't know. I don't quite know how to explain it, but I can, when it's not, I don't know, in most love, I can tend to lean towards being of service to the people that I love, giving. But I realize I struggle with the receptive part. And I've always kind of noticed that, like if something feels, like if someone cares for me, a lot of the time I feel like I have to double what they gave me, because I mean, like, I guess the previous thought process was I didn't feel that I deserved it in the first place. So it's like, let me pay you back, and then let me pay you for even caring in the first place. And I'm letting go of that for the most part. It is hard, and that's like a part of the scooping, but that one doesn't hurt so bad, you know? But I realized, and so perhaps once this transit moves off of my sun, then I'll like come to this point of clarity and like rebirth when it comes to like love and romance. But at the moment, I'm feeling like at the moment, I'm at this point of recognizing and realizing, because I think all of it just went completely direct on my sun, or it's separating. And so I'm like, oh, like the realization happened, and now it's like, I'm at the point where I'm like, what do I want to do with this? So the point that I'm at, I had a realization, that I like have it's always been here, but maybe it's a result of like the 2.5 year long death that I went through. I don't know, but I just had this realization that I'm at a point of like kind of giving up when it comes to love in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, not every way though, because I do believe in love. I believe it's around me. And I know, but the thing is, I've only been pouring into platonic love, familial love, general love, like communal love. And I I think I'm also having a realization that I've kind of been avoiding like truly facing the shadow of my romantic love, you know, like the detail. And yeah, so it was just put right in my face. Hi, I'm the sun. Put right in my face that like my true feeling is, it's not that I don't feel that I deserve romance or romantic love. And it's not that I don't feel like I deserve it, because before I just didn't feel like I deserved it, or I felt like it wasn't actually genuinely waiting for me. And those were feelings that I fought all the time, because I love love, I love romance. I always called myself a hopeful romantic, because it's like I did have hope. But now I'm just like at this point where I do feel a lot of, like, I witness a lot of romance and I feel it, and but I don't hope for it for myself because it feels meaningless to hope for it now. It used to feel, or like purposeless or worthless to hope when it comes to that. And it's weird because it's just like my whole life I guess I maybe did feel that way, but I always fought it. I was like, no, because everyone deserves love. Everyone has love. So why shouldn't I? I'm just like everyone else. So why shouldn't I? Like, I really am such an optimist, even if I don't believe it. I will try to like reach for the hopeful thing, which makes the suicidality that much more like, yeah, but a bitch was holding both. Like, understand that I was holding both. And so I was like, well, yeah, of course I deserve it. And like, of course it's mine. Or like, even if I didn't feel, because it wasn't an of course. It was just like that doesn't make sense. Like, it wouldn't make sense that it wouldn't be here for me. It wouldn't make sense that I don't deserve it, because I believe that everyone deserves some sort of love. I believe that everyone deserves some sort of romance. Maybe not everyone, but like the people that are, like, if I wasn't myself, but I saw myself, I'd be like, yeah, you do deserve love. Yeah, you do. Like, it is innate. Like romantically and in other ways. So then I always fought it. Like, I always fought the like belief that I didn't deserve it, even if it wasn't like I could completely get rid of that doubt. I just would fight it and like kind of push it away, because it's like, you're fucking making shit up, But now I'm realizing I actually don't believe that. Like, I genuinely don't have a belief. It's not that maybe I do hope, but it's like that feels worthless to me now. It feels like I just feel very surrendered, and like I'm just throwing my hands up in the air and like giving up. Like, I feel like maybe I feel like romance is dead in my life, like romantic love or romance. Because, okay, this is where it gets complicated, because I am polyamorous, and so there's like romantic love within platonic relationships. There's platonic love, like you can have a platonic partner, la 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 la, And so like I understand all the nuances of it. Romance can be in a lot of different types of relationships. I'm specifically talking about like boo thang, romantic relationship, partner, lar, okay? Boo thang, it feels like that kind of romance is like dead, or like it dies in my life. It feels like it just feels, now it feels innate that it wouldn't be for me, which it's the scoop. It's painful. I don't even know if that's like the full scoop, or if that belief is being scooped out of me. I can't really tell. Because like Virgo is like the healer, and like, so I'm like, maybe it's being healed, or maybe I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know. But this is just where I'm at, is that it feels like romance is born from me, or like I create romance. But as far as like being receptive to it, as far as receiving romance, as far as like being given it, it's like, it's not ever, like, it feels innate that it wouldn't actually come to me, And partially I understand that, like, so then we're walking a little bit more. I'm like, well, I am close to the receptiveness. I like, reception is closed. I don't know, like, she's closed. Even if I'm like trying to pry her open, there's rust. The lock is on and I don't know where the key is. Like, I just can't quite open it, but I've tried to force it open a little bit. But then it's just become like this giving that I'm doing and not a receiving. It's become a giving, not a receiving. And so I guess because I lived like this for so long, it just feels like I won't receive it, or I can't receive it. And it feels like something that's like innately wrong with me. but not wrong because it feels innate. And so it's like, how can it be wrong if it's just how it is? So I had that thought process, and it made me realize, like, I guess that belief was strong enough. Even if I was fighting it and like denying it, it was still strong enough to make me not open myself up to receiving love. I guess that's also a part of like the death that I went through, because I hated myself, especially from like during that 2.5 year period. I hated myself to the point where I was like, I would intentionally, like 100% intentionally self-sabotage. I was like, I was so mad at myself for not succeeding in, so to the point where I was like, I'm gonna make this feel like death. It was terrible. I've never, like, even though I really disliked myself for most of my life, I didn't hate myself. I was displeased with how things were. I was displeased with the circumstances that I was in. I was displeased with who I was, how I was, you know? But that period was like hatred. And I guess it woke up love in a way, because love and hate is just so like, they literally are right. I feel like they just rub up against each other, and it's like a choice that you have to make at some points. And so I hated myself terribly in a way that I had never experienced up until I decided to love myself. Because it's like, either way I'm gonna have to live, so might as well make it like fucking livable. And I guess like that's just another part that's dying off from the self-hatred and the feeling like, and the declaration that I didn't deserve anything good, anything nourishing, anything that would keep me alive, because I didn't want to be alive. So I'm like, I don't deserve this, and even if I do deserve it, I don't want it. That's like where I was at. I hated that I was alive. Now I don't. And so I'm just seeing like all of those things like still dying off. And I guess maybe that's just one of the things, because I don't know. I understand that love is very necessary to be alive for anyone. Some sort of love. You love your dog. You love being a dick. You love painting. Like, there's some sort of love that keeps you going, that keeps you tethered to life. So love is necessary to stay alive. And I recognized that within myself probably at the beginning of this year again, where I'm like, you know what? I don't get why I keep fighting this when I actually do need, like, it's a need. And now I'm like, is romance a need for me? Yeah. I realize it actually is a need for me to remain joyful in life. And I'm at a point now where I have to be joyful in order to live. And so there's a frustration that I feel when it comes to this like closed reception in matters of romantic love specifically. And it's frustrating because it's like, I do want to be able to be open even if I don't have any hope for it, you know? I do want to be able to be open even if there's not the belief that it's gonna come, even if there's not a belief that it is for me and that it can seep into me. And it frustrates me more because I feel like probably there have been many attempts to be given, like for people to give me romance that I can receive, but reception was closed. So even if I was like taking it in, it was in every other area but here, the romantic love reception, because it's closed. So that shit was just like falling off, fall. And so I guess maybe the scooping is here. Like the locksmith came, cut the lock, ouch, opened it up, oh, and then all these bats and fucking spiders and like everything is crawling out. And that's where the realization was of like, oh shit, that was closed. And like, that's been closed for quite some time. And so now I'm just like, I guess now I'm finding footing. I don't know if it's open though. I want it to be open. And I'm just like, that's where the shadow work comes in. But yeah, that was a realization that I had, was that just because of some transits, just because of some transits that I wasn't even aware of. Because even though, I mean, I call myself an astrologer because I'm quite sure that I am, because I get to do it. And most astrologers are keeping up with stuff like really on top of it. Like they're like, this, and this is gonna happen. Blah, blah, blah. I try to, but sometimes I separate myself because I'm like, I can't just be like, if I have too many eyes on it from myself. Oh, there we go. This was backwards. If I keep my eyes on it too much, I can get a little bit hyper obsessive, and it's like, I only need to be a little bit obsessive with this. Like, not so, you know? And so I did not even realize that transit was happening, but the realization happened via talking. Virgo, Mercury ruled, Mercury communication. I talked about it, and I was like, wait a minute. I literally don't believe that this is even gonna, like, I think that belief comes from the fact that this has been closed, and I didn't even realize it was closed. So I'm just like, so the whole time I just thought that like, oh, I guess it just won't come for me. And then it's also, I think it was open, but then every single time I got hurt, it closed a little bit more. And that's something that is actually automatic. But then you have to fucking manually open that shit back up? Is that true? I don't know. That's just what it feels like. But anyway, it's been closed. I didn't even notice. And so now, like, I just think a lot of romance is falling off of me. I think because I don't believe that it's actually true. Because, South Node, we're looking at the past. Because back in the day, I witnessed romance. Like, both of us are receptive, and like it's blooming, it's blossoming, because like once you're receiving and in mutual reception, let's paint a different picture. Once you're in mutual reception and like y'all romances is romancing, that oh, you can't even see that, like cord or whatever just strengthens and deepens and grows, and so it gets harder and harder to cut. And so every time that cord would start growing and like zoom, you know, someone would be like, awesome, take it off and connect it to someone else who was more palatable to be romantic with and to be seen being romantic with. And I get that maybe sounds like delusional, whatever. I thought it was delusional, but then I realized, but then I like actually looked at it, and it was genuinely a pattern in my life. It was genuinely a pattern. I watched it, and then in hindsight, I realized, oh, this is because I wasn't supposed to, like, societally, I wasn't supposed to be romanceable, romantic, lovable, etc. I wasn't supposed to have that. Or they weren't supposed to feel that way towards me because of who I was. Because in the past, I was a lot more masculine presenting. I didn't, like, my name was Milo. I went by Milo. So I was just much more like, yeah, I'm trans mask. Not that that's died at all. I just really, I don't know if it's just an era or what, but I'm at a point where I'm very hyper feminine, almost in a way of drag for me, but like, I'm just very feminine. I love being feminine. It's fun. It's pretty. Like, at the end of the day, I'm very, very Venusian. My Venus is in Libra. It's in my 5th house, and everything, every single planet in my chart answers to that girl. Venus in the 5th house in Libra. She's strong as fuck. Of course I need all the Venusian themes to live and be happy and actually genuinely want to live. Of course, I want romance. Libra is the one who is concerned with the other. Of fucking course. Of fucking course. And of fucking course you're going to be attracted to me because I'm so Venusian. But I guess like it was a message that I received from my environment of like I didn't deserve it, or it shouldn't happen. Like it was wrong for that to happen in connection with me because of who I was innately. Okay, closed a little bit more after realizing that. And then I'm proven wrong about that. Okay, she's a little bit more open now, but still on guard. Then I'm in romantic relationships. And once the romance starts getting bigger, I can't. Okay, close a little bit more, and that's fine. Because people are going to do what they got to do, and I need that to happen. I need people to do what they got to do. Fine, though, and fine. So she's a little bit more closed. Okay, that happened, and then it happened something different, where it's like I got the messaging of if someone really loves me, they're gonna keep their hand, and that actually was a repeated message in my life too. If someone loves me, they're gonna trap me. They're gonna keep their hand over my neck. They're gonna keep me there because they need me, they want me, they can't share, you know. Like I said earlier, I'm poly. And so I received that a couple times. Okay, closing it just a little bit, but like also shedding that messaging. So now she's a little bit more open. Final kicker, final straw is the romance grows, the connection grows. It's so grow. Okay, I'm getting open. Hey, she's finally getting open. Those doors was getting a little bit corroded, but it's open a little bit. It's not all the way open, because I guess all the way open is like up here. She's like here. She's open though. And like the more I poured in, the more I felt like, okay, yeah. But this was a connection where romance was dead. I was not given romance. Even if I was given some romance, it wasn't the romance that I needed. You know, because we have romantic needs too. In every area, we have a need. And so with romance, it's not just wants. Oh, I want flowers. Oh, I want the dinner. It's not just wants. It's like there are ways that romance needs to be communicated to you. There's ways that romance needs to be communicated to you in order for you to be receptive, in order for your body and your mind and your heart to understand that that was romance and it's meant for you to receive it. I didn't receive any of that. So it closed my romance door, but I was open because there was so much love. And then everybody else getting the romance. Oh, everybody else getting the romance. But when it comes to me, no romance? Oh, right. So the door was closed. And then in that same connection, it was like, but this was prior to the realization. In that same communication, in that same relationship connection, it was like a little crumb of romance would happen, and it would be a crumb to make it feel special. Okay, a little bit opened her. And then that was opened just to connect, just to harm. So it was like, now the garage door, the connector door is here. And it just keeps the garage getting broken. The reception door, open and closer, getting broken. The buttons all fucked up. And then there was the realization of, oh, it's just like the romance isn't being given to me because I'm already here. Straight into fucking through the ground, through 6 feet under, straight to the core of the earth is where that door went. And a lock was put on it. And I don't remember the password, and the lock is all rusted up and the door is rusted now. And I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm not gonna let people have that kind of power. And it's like, how the fuck I'm gonna get that door all the way from the core of the earth? And like, it's like everything has to be replaced. It literally is like a death has to happen in here, because it needs to be redone, reborn, renewed. It's like when you get a fixer-upper house, you have to gut that shit before you can start laying anything new. So that's where I'm at. Thank you, South Node, conjunct Venus, conjunct my sun. And hopefully that was a really good lesson for you, the viewer. Viewers like you make this possible. PBS is not dead. I'm right here. I'm right here. Hello. So that's where I'm at. I literally feel like I'm dying today. Mars is in Scorpio, so it's like, yes, you are. Yes, you are. Because you're either getting your power or whatever is taking away your power, is suppressing your power, is dying. And I'm like, Scorpio placements gotta get into that bag. Like, come on. Because I'm very Plutonian. So that is like a bag that I'm constantly in. And I think Pluto people are constantly in it. But Scorpio, because it's a water sign ruled by emotion, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love emoting. I love emotions. I love the moon. I talk about the moon all the time. She's all about emotions and the tides within us, moving the tides within us, moving the tides within us. So the water signs are the tides. They're like, yeah, I move with my feelings. And Scorpio's feeling is fear. Okay. I'm getting a little bit angry just because I'm like, my sisters, rise up. Come on. Like, I'm so sick of it for y'all. Oh my gosh. Okay. Scorpios can be very, if they're not feeling quite secure, if they're not feeling quite like if they're feeling very protective of themselves, because they're ruled by Mars. So at the end of the day, it's about defense, it's about protection, it's about preservation. Scorpio placements, I'll just like Scorpio in general. So if you have a Scorpio placement, whatever, like this applies to you too. Scorpio is like, it's about like, Scorpio knows that there's a soul there. Scorpio knows that their heart is very strong. They know that they're very sensitive to the tides. They know that they move in that area, in that realm, the unseen, which is feeling, instinct. That's what they're motivated by. And Scorpio also goes through some fucking crazy, terrible shit. Crazy. All right. But they go through some terrible shit. So then they're like, okay, so there are adversaries here, which Scorpio always knows. And then I feel like in every Scorpio placement's life, or maybe every Scorpio, or just like in general, this could be wrong, but I think in every Scorpio person's life, there's that one that gets in. Because Scorpio is hyper vigilant because they know that they have to protect this awesome heart, this soul. Their soul, the soul of the thing, you know. There are many different types of souls. They're like, I gotta protect this. I gotta protect this. Who the fuck is coming after this? And so what we don't see is them like literally rotating around the soul thing constantly, using their feelers to be like, okay, you're an op, you're not safe, you're gonna fuck with me. You think you can fuck with me, but watch. Like, that's the assessments that they're doing. And they test people. If they start trusting people, then they start testing. Okay, you seem trustworthy, but if this were to happen, would you be? And they do the tests, and that's what makes them open the doors, because they also, I mean, like, how much they have to preserve their energy. So what the fuck do they look like running around? That's how it is at first, hyper. But then they're like, oh man, you know what? I should build up a little wall over here so that, because people seem to come in over here a lot. So let me build up this wall or whatever it is. Like, let me pinch here. Let me put some spikes. Maybe they're like spikes, or maybe it's like a trap. You know, Scorpio's crafty. They'll do whatever works. And that's what's scary. But it's also like creative. Yeah. They'll do whatever works. It's only scary if you're an op. They'll do whatever works. They'll do whatever works. And so, dang, my nose itching. So, they'll put some spikes here, or like whatever kind of trap they have, because so many ops seem to come in over here. And they build and build and build, and the more people that are fucking with them, or where they feel fucked with, you know, like if their sensitivity isn't revered, or like, you know, there's a lot of different things that can happen. But either way, there's a bunch of traps everywhere. And so if you're like passing certain tests, they'll be like, hey, there's a trap there. Like, move, let's go this way. Maybe they won't tell you about the trap, but they'll be like, okay, let's walk this way, so that you walk around the trap. You're getting closer to them though. And so you move through the traps, because you're passing the tests. And I feel like in every Scorpio placement's life, there's just that one person who passes all of the tests, but gets in to, and you can't kill the fucking Scorpio placement. That's what's fucking stupid. Is like, sorry, I actually really dislike using that word, but I think it's just seeped back into my vocabulary, which is frustrating. Anyway, it's really not, it doesn't make any fucking sense actually, because it's like, you thought you could get in here and then still win the fight with Scorpio? You don't got a single brain cell left, you know? Like it's not quite functioning. Not in that way. Just like, if you had one thought, you should know. Scorpio placements are kind of unfuckable with the bull. Unfuck with the bull. And so, but there's always that. I won't say there's always, but I just, from observation, there's always been that one that they did let get that close. And then it was games. Fucking la la la, you know? And so they experience that, and it reignites the hypervigilance, because they're like, well, if I let that person in, then and it's like, no, that person was just genuinely out to get you. And I get it that they just weren't, you know, or maybe they weren't out to get you, but then it became that, you know, because things transform, things change, shift, and so they're not very trusting people, right? So then this is where I get upset, because it's just like, it was just that one. It's not everyone. It could only be one because of who you are. It could only be one because of who you are. Because something about a Scorpio placement and Scorpio is that never again is their favorite fucking thing. But that's where the hypervigilance comes in again. So now not only do they have all these traps, they're back to it. I gotta walk around because niggas think that they're gonna walking around. They're fucking running around. They're like, I don't know. It's the shark and the scorpion. It's both. It's every realm and layer. And so then they get to this point of hypervigilance, which keeps everyone out, or keeps everyone from getting that close. They can be pretty close, but ain't nobody getting close to the soul again. And that's where I'm like, my sisters, rise up, because you're powerful. You recognize your power by someone literally coming in to kill you. Because if someone gets all the way in there like that and they were adversarial, it was to kill you. And you fucking lived and you're good. You lived so hard that you have enough energy to do all that fucking running around your fortress with all the traps and like swim through your moat. And like you're powerful. You're unfuckwithable. So then, and so that's why I get upset, because I'm like, come on. Ain't nobody gonna do you like that again, because they can't. even if they did start somehow getting through the trap, or like you're bringing them away from the traps, you would still clock it at a certain point, because everyone has a tell that you can tell. Oh, you're not my friend. And then there's your trap. You set it all up to be protected, and it's all set up for you to be protected. So but but I also get it, and I get it, and I get it because my door all the way in fucking the core of the earth. So I get it too. But anyway, Mars is in Scorpio. So it really is like a death. It's a death, but it's to be empowered and to become boss bitch, because that's the other side of Scorpio, which is the Plutonian side, the power, the control, the transformation, the shedding. Mars, the protecting of the thing, the action, the drive. That's the two sides of Scorpio. So yeah, that's just like where I'm at. I guess that's this full episode, because I'm like, I don't really have anything else to talk about. But I just wanted to upload another thing, and like, you know, like, this is not, it's not dead. This is not dead. This is being empowered. I think, so some thoughts are happening, some revamping might happen, because I would like to keep this alive. It's just like some things need to change, I think, in other ways. And so I'm working it out, figuring it out, and it will be figured, figure eight even. Yeah, if you like that, if you like this, go ahead and like it. And if you want to see even more, you should go ahead and subscribe. This one had a different vibe to it. Usually I'm a lot more like jokey and happy, which I guess I was joking. I'm just like, she's dying. Like, fuck. You're expecting me to show up all like, yeah, guys, you see, la la la, when I'm literally in the process of death? How dare you? No fucking respect. Anyway. See you next time, see you next time, see you next time, yeah.